Okay, this is the third version of our Pong game. This adds movement of the player paddles up and down by key presses, and it also adds scoring. When I hit the right edge, I give the left player a point. When I hit the left edge, I give the right player a point. However, please note that even though I'm scoring and I am moving the paddles, I'm not actually looking for collisions with the paddles yet. So I'm just bouncing off the left edge, bouncing off the right edge, and moving the paddles, not bouncing off the player paddles yet. So let's take a look at what we've got. Run the program. Here we go. Drop a ball. And as I hit the right edge, the left increases. I hit the left, the right increases, hit the right, and the left increases, hit the left and the right increases, and so on. I think I'm moving too slow, but you can watch things change. As I hit the left, that will change. As I hit the right, that will change. So I'm detecting collisions with the right edge and collisions with the left edge. If I get a collision with the left edge, that means the right player gets the point. If I get a collision with the right edge, that means the left player gets a point. Similarly, I'm now using the up and down arrows to move the player's paddle. I'm not detecting collisions of the ball with the player's paddle yet. I'm just moving the paddle, and I'm using the W and the Z keys to move the left player's paddle. So let's take a look at how that works. Detecting collisions with the edge is the easiest, and that, of course, is used for updating the score. So that's just right here. If I'm at the left edge, then the left player missed it, so the right player gets a point. So I increment right score by 1, and then I update the sign. If I'm at the right edge, then the left player gets a point, and I update the sign. So that's simple. Now let's take a look at moving the player paddles. We need to first of all pay attention to this constant. I've set the Y velocity for my player paddle to 4, meaning that each game loop we're going to move the player paddle by 4 or -4, up or down or up I should say, with 4 and -4 according to the directions of the keys. Now I'm going to control things with keys, so I need to say the key pressed event is handled by the key pressed function. So that's registers that event, and here's the key pressed function. The key pressed function says, let's take a look at the event that actually happened. We're going to take the left paddle Y velocity and the right paddle Y velocity, and I'm going to change those. If the event's key value, in other words, if the key that was pressed is the constant key underscore W, that means the W, upper or lowercase, was pressed. So move the left player's Y, set the left paddle Y velocity to -4, and that means that it's going to start going up. On the other hand, if the key that was pressed was the Z key, then set the left paddle Y velocity to +4, and that means that it will move down. If the key was the up key, set the right paddle to make it go up, and if the key was the down arrow key, set the right paddle's Y velocity to make it go down. Now it's important to note that these sets the values for the movement, but there's no actual movement that happens. Typically this is how we use a key press method or a mouse click method. We set constants or set values, but we don't do any actual movement. The movement happens down right here. Move the left player paddle according to its Y velocity, and if that Y velocity was set to -4, then the left player paddle moves up. If that Y velocity was set in the key pressed method to +4, then that left player paddle moves down. It doesn't move horizontally at all, it just moves up or down according to the velocities set back here. Then I'm further going to do this. I'm going to say if it's off the top, then make it go to the top and stop it. That way it doesn't go above, it doesn't go to the top and then keep going to the top. It just stops when you hit the top. Similarly, if it's at the bottom, then if it's at or below the bottom, then put it at the bottom and set its Y velocity to 0. So when the left player paddle hits the bottom, it just stops moving. You can't move it off the edge. The right player paddle is handled similarly. We're going to move it according to the constant set in the key pressed event. Not constant, but the value set in the key pressed event. It will go up or down depending on whether this is positive or negative. If it's at the top, set it at the top, and then freeze it, quit it, stop it moving. And if it's at the bottom or below the bottom, set it at the bottom. And I notice my indent is off there. And then stop it. The net result is the two paddles can't be moving above or below the window. And that's it.